All right, well, we continue on with our review lessons. Today we're on lesson 208. With the message, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. And then the review, the peace of God is shining in me now. I will be still and let the earth be still along with me. And in that stillness, we will find the peace of God. It is within my heart, which witnesses to God Himself. I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me.
We can let those words take us within. The peace of God. The peace of God is shining in me now. I will be still and let the earth be still along with me. And in that stillness, we will find the peace of God. It is within my heart, which witnesses to God Himself. And my identity is not within a body. I am free. It's wonderful to join with all of you in meditation. Knowing we're not body, we are really joined, we're really one. Interesting to see all the different bodies as illusions. Let's just come back to, there is just mind here. There is mind communing. But it's helpful to over and over again look at what makes you think you are an individual. What makes you think you are different than everybody else here, for example. You can do that exercise a lot, all the time, all day long. What is it that makes me feel like I'm a separate individual right now? As you find yourself in different situations. There's always a defensiveness. There's always a little I there when you believe you're a separate individual. But we don't have to get harsh or too militant about the practice. We can also say, well, this is where I find myself. Use me, Holy Spirit. Show me how I can be truly helpful. Show me who I am. Do you have any expressions today?
Morning.
Good morning.
I would just like to share an experience I had this night. It's really hot, and I woke up and it was like a wall of heat. Nothing come in, all the windows were open and nothing came in. And I felt really frustrated, and I started journaling at some point. And I remember I think I wrote like 3 or 4 times, just make it obvious. I want to know you're there. I remember I write in Danish, and spirit is another word in Danish. And I wrote that and I said, no, it doesn't feel good. And then I was like, I want to call you spirit. And I was like, that's okay. You can use that name, it's okay. And I suddenly realized, having journaled for so many years here, I actually had a kind of a wrongness of using that word. And then I just poured my heart out. We are doing diets for a couple of days, and I actually probably did that with spirit. Just really poured out, and I said, I just want to know you're there. You know, I really just want to know you're there. I want to experience something. And then after I sat and I went to have something to drink, and then suddenly I could feel this cold breeze coming from the window. And it's just, first I was like, no. And then it stopped again. And then it just came in again. And I just moved to that part of the bed where the breeze was. And I just lay down and I fell asleep. This nice cool breeze coming in. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah. Now it's like, you know, and suddenly it's in the small things. It's in all these small things that I think it's me controlling, and it's me having a, you know, and I just yeah, I had this. I really would like to let go of all of this, but there's such a fear. So I just, yeah. That was a beautiful experience. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, there are no small things. Like, all things, it's all mind, it's all spirit. So it's not just, because we are so quick to explain it in worldly terms. Oh, it's just the weather changing. It's not because you prayed. It's, you know, or many, you could see throughout the day how the mind will explain things with, like, yeah, the natural science, you know, like, but it's never that. It's always the power of the mind that is doing everything, good or bad, depending on what we choose to think with. So how beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for praying. For using the word spirit.
Yeah, it's okay now.
You forgave the word spirit or something. You realize you can use it. Wonderful. Is there anything else on your hearts?
Good morning.
Good morning, Jonas.
Yeah. Yesterday we had a challenging day, and it seemed to me that Vanessa was in a different mood than I have experienced her before. A little more difficult to be around for me, and yeah, I just feel this still, the echoes of that, you know, on being unfairly treated, or that feeling of, you know, it's like I have the feeling that I also had with my mom when she had been angry, and it was kind of, I had been walking the whole day to try and connect with her, and you know, and then the day after, I was, even though it was a new day, but I'm still feeling like not wanting to open my heart because of the fear of the anger still being there, you know. Yeah. Yeah, and some, you know, some of the things she shared also, normally if it's, for example, about my food, you know, if it's something like, oh, you always want to decide what food we buy or something, normally I get afraid and I try to change it in form, and I think, yeah, oh yeah, that's right, oh, that's my lesson, I should change it. But then I was just thinking about, actually, there is nothing more I can change. I feel that I have been completely, you know, fair about, because I like to eat as a vegan. She likes meat and cheese as well. And when I was going over the meals for the last 9 days, I was thinking, okay, we had meat 3 days, we had cheese, we had eggs, we had a soup with some cheese, with toast with cheese, and then we had 2 vegan meals the last 2 days. But I can feel like there is this fear in me right now that today we are going to eat the leftovers of a vegan meal, and that fear of the attack, because in my mind it's very, very clear that, you know, even though maybe it was just an expression from Vanessa coming from something else, and then she mentioned the food, but now in my mind the food is like, oh, I should do something about that. I should change it. I should make her stay here comfortably. It's my responsibility that she has a nice time here where she likes it. And
So, can you pause there?
Yeah.
I think you hear yourself. I mean, you know that is not really the highest way of thinking. You, Jonas, are responsible that she has a nice stay there. Even that you yourself have a nice stay there. It's not your responsibility.
Yeah.
It's always a core, like a seed of guilt in the mind that will make any issue. It's almost like you're going to make up for some sin or guilt all the time.
Mm.
But what if you're loved? What if you are loved? And today you're going to go and speak to a group about the course, which is great. You get a chance to extend, and I think the ego doesn't like it, so it's like attacking you yesterday and today as a preparation. That's the ego's way of preparing your mind for extending.
Yeah.
But you have a lot to share. I mean, the guy you met and had this holy encounter with you was so helpful. You have a lot to extend. The spirit wants to use you, Jonas, and that is beautiful. And you just need to allow that and just start to release all those doubts. It's just doubt thoughts when you get into thinking about the food and what you should do for Vanessa or for yourself, or that's just doubt thoughts. So whenever you get into those spins, you can just say, no, I don't want to entertain those beliefs and those thoughts. This is not a good use of my time. This is not a good use of my mind. I'm going to trust instead. And even the keeping score, how many days you eat meat and how many days you eat vegan, as if there's some kind of conflict and that you have to compromise. Both of you have to compromise a bit because you have different ideas about the food. I think there is the way of the spirit is different than any compromise.
I didn't keep score. I just have a photographic food memory, so I can remember every meal I have had in my entire life.
Yeah.
Wow. We watched Temple Grande, and she had a photographic memory for everything. She remembered all the shoes she had ever worn.
Or seen other people wear.
Yeah.
Oh.
Temple Grandin. It's a movie called Temple Grandin. It's about a woman who is autistic, and she remembers everything in pictures. And if people speak in pictures, people can say, yeah, we get up with a rooster every morning. Like we get up early, basically. In her mind, she saw the couple sitting up on the rooftop and cuckooing with the rooster. It's like, hello.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah. So everything is an image in her mind. It sounds like that for you with food. Maybe you can pray for release. So innocent.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. if there are any more expressions, I think you have time to stay a little.
Mhm.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Hi, Barret. Feeling a bit calmer now. I've been quite agitated, and I was agitated last night. And after doing a number of dyads the last few days, I felt this real anger and hatred that seemed to be aimed at Solvay. And when I explored it, I couldn't find a respite. And I felt it this morning, and I felt it even with you at one moment when you were reading the lesson, and I thought, this is my self-hatred. Very critical. It's like lots of little, just petty thoughts. And I hate that. I hate the hate. I hate the critical. I don't think I generally allow it up. I don't want to feel like that, to be like that, I think. And it does feel somehow connected with going more towards lack and abandonment stuff. It's like, I don't know the connection, but I just feels these things are happening all the same time. I just wanted to put my smiling around Matthew. We had a conversation not so long ago about intolerance and feeling my intolerance around like this wall of hatred. Sometimes it doesn't feel like anything. It's just dark and feels grungy. I just feel really
You know, as Jenny mentioned, there's a lot of kind of like chainsaws and noise of machines around this morning, and I just, as you're sharing, Peter, I get this image of like cutting away the dead growth, you know, the dead plant life. But once you cut it away, you don't just, you don't just want it to sit there. You need to remove it, and that's kind of the feeling I get for you, is that it is good. We need to deal with the dead undergrowth, and it needs to be taken away. It needs to be given over to spirit. It needs to be handed over. So I know you are doing that, but I think maybe just to stay focused on the real handing it over part of it. So otherwise you're just dealing with the same dead stuff over and over.
Yeah, thank you. That's helpful. You know, I can feel a question mark there, you know, and I think you've said this to me before, and I can hardly remember that. And so it feels there's something really mystifying about it. But thank you. It feels right.
Yeah. Yeah. Just know that you want it gone. And I think that's the helpful part.
Yeah. There's a part that's hysterical that wants it gone, you know, desperate.
Yeah. Thank you for opening all that up.
I feel really agitated now. When you said that, I feel really agitated. It's obviously something I don't want to let go of. I feel blank, but I feel really agitated. Fearful.
Yeah, and I think the dynamic that's showing up here is around the attraction of guilt and pain.
That's right.
I think it's almost universal that when we read those parts of the course, at first we're kind of shocked or stunned. I'm not attracted to guilt or pain. I want to release, I want to undo.
Yeah.
And what we're kind of naming here is the part of you that actually is attracted to it. Attracted to the heaviness, attracted to the hatred even.
It's really quite strong. That aversion, that hatred, that just, it's like, it's really strong.
Yeah, and I would just offer one more thing, which is that there may, in a lot of ways, be an attachment to like knowing the process.
I can look forward to letting go of this. That would feel fantastic. Yeah, I wouldn't have to be on alert the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this knowing the process, understanding intellectually is like it's like a small little lifeboat that is kind of, you cobbled it together, and it's, trying to keep you safe, but in reality the water is fine. You don't need the lifeboat.
Yeah, it has been my lifeboat. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Really helpful.
Is there anything else?
I actually had a question.
Mm-hmm.
When, for example, when we are sharing something with someone, and then you used to say like, when you do this, I feel like this. But I can see in my mind like it's difficult to say like, when you do this, I feel like this, I feel like that, without blame or without make this real, without say, oh, because if what I feel has not to do what someone have done to me, and why, no, I don't know, but how is the most helpful way to share or to release or to talk about this situation, without blame, without make real the situation? Because for me, it's like, it's impossible if I say, when you do this, I feel like that. And underneath it is, yeah, I feel like this because you did this with me.
It's a very good question, yeah. And I think you're really seeing it clearly. It's often helpful to name exactly what you're saying. There's some dynamic It needs to be expressed, it needs to be exposed and discussed. But on that deeper level, you are never a victim of what anyone else does or says. So, yeah, there's not one way of dealing with it. I mean, it's always helpful to give it over to Holy Spirit. And if when you've given it to Holy Spirit, it still feels like we need to expose it, then yeah, bring it up, have the discussion, you know, share what you're feeling. But at some point, you're always going to realize that is not the reason why you feel that way. It never comes from outside of you. Sometimes when you bring this sort of thing in your mind to Holy Spirit, you'll have the shift within you. You don't have to have the conversation. You'll just find some healing with Holy Spirit. But sometimes that healing comes through the conversation. Sometimes it comes after the conversation. So there's not just one right way of dealing with it. It's really to be prayerful about how you share about it, you know, even how much you share about it.
Mm.
You know, maybe you just need to say one sentence and then go off and find some time to yourself. Maybe you need to, you know, share a lot about it with them before, you know, you kind of have some inner space with it. You know, you could say that our practice is really just to pray, like always, about all things. And that'll guide you through it.
Mm. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Another thing I would just say is to remember you don't have to judge your feelings, whatever they are. If you find yourself upset or sad, it's not bad that you're upset or sad. It doesn't mean you've done something wrong. This is just where you are in the present. And you can let yourself feel it even as you remember that what you really want is happiness. Yeah. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Love you.
Love you guys. Bye.